Okay, so for skill 7, I first chose 4 angle measurements. A is 30 degrees or pi over 6 radians, B is 150 over 5 pi over 6, C is 45 or pi over 4, and D is 315 or 7 pi over 4. And so first, well, A and B, or 30 and 150 degrees, have the same sign value because 30 is in the first quadrant and 150 is in the second quadrant. So both of their signs are 1/2, and they're both positive because of the quadrant they're in. And then 45 degrees and 315 degrees both have positive cosine values because 45 degrees is in the first quadrant and cosine is, 315 degrees is in the fourth quadrant. Okay, so first I started off by doing sine of x minus 1/2 times cosine x minus root 2 over 2 equals 0 because I can set sine of x up here equals 1/2, and if I subtract both sides of 1/2, I can get sine of x minus 1/2 equals 0. So that means this value is equal to 0. And I can do the same thing with this value. And so this parentheses is going to also be 0. So if this is 0, then this equation comes out to 0. And if this is 0, this also does. So it's kind of just like factoring basically. And yeah, so next here I just multiplied both terms in this parentheses by 2. Doesn't really change anything. I just wanted this 1 here so I could use the Pythagorean theorem, which is what I did here. So 1 is sine squared x plus cosine squared x. So yeah, and it didn't change that side, that parentheses. And then here I just took out the parentheses. And then here I use the co-function identity, which says sine of x is equal to cosine of pi over 2 minus x. And lastly, I use the double angle identity. This is the double angle identity. Sine 2x is equal to 2 sine x cosine x. And then I just isolated cosine x on one side. So cosine x is equal to sine 2x divided by 2 sine x, which is what I did here. And so I just substitute sine 2x over 2 sine x for cosine x. And then I solve the equation, so this is the equation, I just rewrote it, and then this is a co-function identity, so this is equal to sine of x, and then this is a double angle identity, so sine 2x over 2 sine x is cosine x, and then I put this into parentheses, so I could get sine squared x plus cosine squared x, which is 1. That's Pythagorean theorem. And then if this side is equal to 0, then the equation goes out to 0. So you can say 2 sine x minus 1 equals 0. So sine of x is equal to 1/2. And sine of x equals 1/2 at 30 degrees and 150 degrees. As you can see, they both have positive sign values. And so x is 30 and 150, or pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6. And then here I do the same thing. Cosine of x minus root 2 over 2 equals 0. So cosine x is equal to root 2 over 2. And that's true at 45 degrees and 315 degrees because both have positive cosine values. And yeah. So x is equal to 45 degrees and 315 degrees, or pi over 4 is 7 pi over 4. So the solutions are x is equal to 30, 150, 45, and 315.